So what does everyone think of all the announcements in this morning's keynote? Yeah, pretty awesome, right? Who wants to use HipChat video? What about Confluence questions? JIRA Service Desk? Awesome. Welcome to the Confluence State of the Union. My name's Matt, and I used to have an Australian accent. I've been with Atlassian for 5.5 years now, and I've spent the last 4 of them here in our San Francisco office. So please excuse me for what my mates back home in Sydney refer to as my hybrid accent. But over the last 5.5 years, I've seen Confluence completely transform from its humble beginnings as a technical wiki to a fully fledged collaboration platform. And all along the way, I've seen it completely transform the way that your teams work together for the better. Now, while it's my job to get everyone on the planet, every one of you, to be using Confluence, it's my job because I truly believe it can help unleash the potential of every one of your teams. So today, I'm going to start off by showing how everyone in your organization can get more value out of Confluence. Because you really see value when every team is using it as the one place to create, share, and discuss content with everyone in your organization so you can really get work done. Then I'm going to invite Bill up onto the stage so he can talk about how we're building the world's best collaboration platform, a platform that you can trust. Can I start with a big show of hands of everyone in the audience who's just started using Confluence in the last 12 months? Fantastic. Welcome to the Confluence family, guys. A family of more than 43,000 teams around the world. New teams at startups, enterprises, nonprofits, and government agencies, all using Confluence every day to work better together. Those 43,000 teams are made up of more than 5.5 million people. That's 5.5 million managers and developers and marketers and salespeople, all using Confluence every day to work together. 5.5 million people at amazing companies, delivering amazing products and providing amazing services and really changing the world. Companies like Audi, where more than 6,000 people use Confluence every day in their R&D department. Not a single car rolls off the Audi production line that didn't start as a concept that was documented in Confluence. Companies like Bonobos, one of the up-and-coming fashion chains in New York, who are disrupting the industry with a unique business model, which is a blend of e-commerce and traditional brick and mortar. They induct, train, and communicate to every single one of their employees entirely through Confluence. And finally, for those of you who came into the audience just a little earlier, you saw HubSpot in their story and how they've been using Confluence for company-wide collaboration. But you don't need to take my word for it. We're lucky enough to have Jim O'Neill, HubSpot's CIO, here with us at Summit. I encourage you to check out his talk tomorrow and learn more about how Confluence powers company-wide collaboration at HubSpot for more than 700 employees. Now, it's stories like Jim's that really inspire us to continue to build great software. And when I say us, I'm referring to the whole Confluence team, the designers, the developers, the product managers, the support and QA engineers, and the technical writers, and the marketers like myself. All the way down in Sydney, Australia. You're the reason that we go to work every day, and you're the reason that we continue to evolve Confluence. We're building a product that's so easy to use and so intuitive that it becomes the one place that every team in your organization goes to create and share information. We're building a product where information flows freely and where everyone is encouraged to collaborate. And most importantly, we're building a product where work actually gets done. Now, that's our purpose, and that guides us in everything that we do. And we've been doing a lot. In the last 12 months, we've shipped more major releases with more new features and improvements to provide you with more value than ever before. Value in the form of tasks and in-app notifications and Confluence Mobile so your team can be productive from anywhere. Value in a completely new look, feel, and flow to drive greater adoption of Confluence amongst every team in your company. Value in the form of bundled best practices so that those teams can understand what they can use Confluence for and what problems it solves for them. Value in an all-new, completely overhauled search experience. So it's very important that you can find that information that you need to get work done so you can get on with your workday. And most recently, just yesterday in fact, value in helping you help yourselves with a self-service knowledge base that can be set up in a matter of clicks. Now, I'd be up here for hours if I were to go through each and every new feature and improvement that we've shipped in the last 12 months. So instead, I'm going to focus on how these new features can help unleash the potential of every team in your organization. We truly believe that Confluence is valuable for every team, and not just the product and development teams in your company. We want everyone to get as much value out of Confluence as we do at Atlassian, and as the teams do at Audi, Bonobos, and HubSpot. So today, I'm going to show you how Confluence can help your development and product teams build better software. Secondly, how your IT teams can use Confluence to help their customers help themselves. And lastly, how every team in your company can centralize their information in Confluence and be more productive and work better together. Let's start with how Confluence can help your product and development teams move faster and build better software. Now, great products require even better planning. So we've baked a best practice for documenting your product requirements right inside of Confluence. It makes it incredibly easy to collaboratively create, discuss, and organize all of your product requirements in one place. Now, once you have a completed product requirements document, you then need to get your user stories into your team's backlog so that work can get started. And that's where JIRA comes in. JIRA is the best place to track those tasks to completion. And it shows. 1 in every 2 Confluence customers also use JIRA alongside Confluence. That's right. If you're not using JIRA, look at the person next to you and ask why you should be. Obviously, JIRA integration is extremely important for you guys. So we've been heavily invested in making the flow between the 2 products as seamless as possible. We want to help you move faster at scale and build better software, and that all starts in Confluence. Now, I know Scott showed this to you in the keynote this morning, but I just have to show you again. It's seriously my most favorite feature. In just a few simple clicks, we can turn requirements that are documented in Confluence into stories inside of JIRA. Seamlessly. No more copy and pasting, no more switching applications. From right within Confluence, we can turn this single requirement or an entire column of requirements into stories in JIRA. That's awesome, isn't it? Right? Now your backlog is full of tasks for your team to get started on their next sprint, and you're one step closer to building better software. Now, having complete traceability across 2 products is extremely important, so we take care of that for you automatically. Your product managers, they want to be able to track the work that your development teams are doing inside of JIRA, inside the tool that they use every day, Confluence, and now they can. Likewise, your developers want to be able to quickly access the product requirements that are being documented in Confluence from their epics in JIRA Agile, so they can get context before they start any development work. Now they can. So with complete traceability across your requirements in Confluence and all the work that's taking place in JIRA, you'll be building better software in no time. Now, just as traceability is important, so is communication throughout the development process. And you guys have told us that you want to be able to produce ad hoc reports of the work that's taking place in JIRA and publish them in Confluence for the rest of the business to see. We've introduced 2 new blueprints to make this incredibly easy for you. You can either publish the status of your team's work or quickly publish a report that shows what's changed in a recent release. Last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about retrospectives and how retrospectives can help your development teams reflect and improve upon their development process. And you can do all this from JIRA Agile. As soon as you complete your sprint, you can kick off a retrospective and invite participants to share what went well and what didn't. Again, we're focused on making the flow between JIRA and the flow between Confluence as seamless as possible in this instance. Again, it will automatically link your retrospective in Confluence to your sprint in JIRA Agile, giving you complete traceability. So that's a little look into some of the things that we've been doing to help your software teams build better products faster. And I just want to quickly recap what I showed you. You'll get bundled best practices to help you standardize agile development across your entire business. You'll get seamless integration between the tools you use throughout the development process, an experience that no one else can provide. You'll get complete traceability across the work that's taking place in Confluence and the work that's taking place in JIRA. And lastly, you'll be able to communicate and improve upon your development process with JIRA reports and retrospectives. Those of you using On Demand, you'll start to see some of these features trickle out over the next couple of months. And for everyone else, they'll be coming in our next major release, Confluence 5.4, which I hope we can get to you before Christmas. Now, with Confluence being so successful with the product and software teams in your company, it naturally spreads into other areas of the business, like IT. Alongside today's release of JIRA Service Desk, we also introduced a new Confluence knowledge base space to help you create a self-service knowledge base inside of Confluence. And it's incredibly easy for you to get started, so let me quickly show you. Just create a new space, and from the new Create Space dialog in Confluence 5.3, select the new knowledge base space. What that'll give you is an instant structure to help you get started that you can then go and customize with the full power of the Confluence editor, as I've done in this example. Now, again, we've bundled best practices to help you quickly document solutions to known issues in the workplace and common tasks. These bundled best practices give you structured templates. Let me just go back to that slide. Sorry about that. Now, these best practices give you structured templates that make it easy not only for you to standardize your knowledge articles across your business, but also make it easier for your support engineers to contribute their knowledge. There's very low friction. How-to articles are perfect for contributing knowledge about common tasks in the workplace, like setting up a printer with your new computer. Why is it that setting up printers is always such a pain in the ass anyway? Every how-to and troubleshooting article also includes an automated list of related articles. So even if this isn't the right solution, customers will be able to see other potential solutions to their problem without having to go and contact their service desk. Now, we believe that the best service is self-service. So Confluence makes it very quick and easy for your customers to find solutions to their problems using live search or by browsing topics right from the knowledge base homepage. And this is an automated list of topics. You don't have to lift a finger. Now, here's the coolest part. Once you get your shiny new JIRA Service Desk up and running, you can connect that to your Confluence knowledge base and turn your JIRA Service Desk into a self-service desk. When users go to create, or customers I should say, go to create a request in JIRA Service Desk, they'll automatically see potential solutions to their problem that have already been documented in Confluence. And then they can go ahead and view those solutions right there inside of Confluence without having to leave Service Desk. It's a fantastic experience for them, and it doesn't really get any easier than that. So get your knowledge base up and running today. It's available in yesterday's release of Confluence 5.3. And start documenting solutions with the bundled best practices, the how-to, and the troubleshooting articles. They're structured, they're searchable, and they're easy for your customers to find. And lastly, connect it to your JIRA Service Desk and turn that service desk into a self-service desk. So we've just taken a look at how your IT teams can get more value out of Confluence and create a self-service knowledge base so that customers can help themselves. What do I mean by customers? I mean all the other teams in your organizations, the marketing team, the HR team, the management team, customers like me who need help setting up their printer. So for those teams, I want to now show you how every other team in your organization, those customers, how they can centralize their information in Confluence and work better together with their team. When I say information, I'm referring to information in the form of meeting notes, documents, decisions, shared links, basically any type of information that you create and share with your team. You create and share this information every single day in order to get work done. Now, wouldn't it be great if all that information was available in one place? With Confluence, it can be. Confluence is the perfect place to create, share, and discuss the information that you need to get done with your team. Now, I want to start by showing you how you can use Confluence to run effective meetings. Why meetings? Well, I think most of you would agree with me that most meetings suck. Okay? Research shows that more than half of the meetings we attend are a complete and utter waste of time. Why is that? I can see a lot of you nodding your heads. Good. Why is that? Well, most of the time they don't have a clear agenda. And when that happens, people walk into the meeting unprepared. Pretty much they run over time. And then the most infuriating part of it all is that things that were discussed never get followed up on. The good news is Confluence can help. I want you to meet Ryan. Ryan is a manager that uses Confluence to run effective meetings with his team. And Confluence makes it very easy for him to do so. He can just use the bundled meeting notes blueprint available right there in the Create dialog. What that'll do is give Ryan a consistent structure to help him prepare and plan for his meeting. Now, meetings are no fun by yourself, so Ryan will start adding some attendees. And when he does that, Confluence automatically triggers the mentions feature. So once he goes and saves this page, every attendee he's listed will automatically be notified, saving Ryan from having to do that himself. Next up, and probably the most important part, Ryan is going to set some goals and outline an agenda for the meeting. With a clear agenda on this page, everyone can walk into the meeting prepared, and Ryan can run a productive meeting with his team, and he's not going to waste an hour of everyone's time. Now, once the meeting starts, it's easy for Ryan to then go and edit the page and start taking notes to provide context around what was discussed. Now, notes are not just important for the attendees of the meeting to refer back to later, but also for people that weren't able to attend the meeting so they can come back and have a look and catch up on what they missed. The last thing Ryan's going to do with his meeting notes is he's going to assign some action items to make sure that the things his team discussed during the meeting actually get followed up on. And again, Confluence triggers mentions for you automatically so that the attendees are automatically notified of any assigned tasks. So let's quickly recap what Ryan's been able to achieve with the meeting notes blueprint here. Confluence helped Ryan outline a clear agenda which was automatically distributed to attendees, so they're notified, and when they walk into the meeting, they're prepared. He's then gone ahead and taken some notes to provide context around what was discussed. And lastly, he's assigned action items to make sure that the things that were discussed actually get followed up on. Now, all of this is available for use today in Confluence 5.1. Just as meetings are important and integral to our everyday jobs, so are files and documents. And they can be really hard to find when they're not stored in a central location. If you remember back to our meeting, Ryan had actually assigned Cassie, the designer on the team, a task to distribute some design assets that she'd been working on for speakers to use to put their presentations together for an upcoming event. Instead of emailing each speaker a copy of the slides and creating duplicate copies of the same information, Cassie is going to go ahead and create a file list and share these files in Confluence. In a couple of clicks, Cassie's created a page with a big drop zone for her to take her files, drop them on the page, Confluence will attach them for her, and in a couple of seconds she has a file list that she can then go ahead and share with her team without having to jump over to email. And in this instance, Alana, Grant, and everyone in the marketing group will get a notification pulling them back into Confluence where they can then preview attached files, images, PDFs, and PowerPoints using the beautiful new HTML5 file viewer. And this is really important, they'll always get the most up-to-date version of that file thanks to Confluence automatically versioning the files for Cassie. No more crazy file names, just the most up-to-date version of your files. So I want to quickly recap what Cassie just achieved because that was very quick. In under a couple of minutes, without sending a single email, Cassie has created a file list with her team. It's very easy for her to share it and bring everyone into Confluence where they get instant previews and the most up-to-date versions of the files thanks to automatic versioning. And lastly, those files are always going to be accessible in Confluence. They're going to be very easy to find. The full context of every file attached is searchable using Confluence's search. Now, next time you guys need to share a file list with your team, do it in Confluence so your team has one place to find your files instead of 4. Now, last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about decisions. We all make countless decisions in our everyday jobs, and many of them don't require the long meetings and endless email threads that you're all too familiar with. So let's bring back Cassie to take a look at how she's been able to use Confluence to make a decision with her team. With Cassie's first task out of the way, Cassie now has been tasked with making a decision on a design for an ad she's going to use in an upcoming campaign. And she's going to use Confluence to make this decision with her team asynchronously using the bundled decisions blueprint. Using the decisions blueprint, she can start by defining what decision needs to be made, by whom, and by when. Confluence will take that important information and put it on a page automatically notify all the stakeholders, pulling them into Confluence where they can then together make that decision. Now, since this is a Confluence page, Cassie has the full flexibility of the Confluence editor. She can go in, she can add a new layout, and she can drop in her 3 designs that she wants her team to review. All powered by the Confluence editor. Now, since Confluence has already notified her team or the stakeholders that a decision has been made, they've come into Confluence and they've started a discussion on the page, and ultimately they're going to reach a consensus using comments to provide feedback and likes to validate other people's feedback. Once a consensus has been reached, Cassie, as the owner of the decision, can then go and edit the page and update the final outcome. Again, Confluence handles notifying all of your stakeholders of that outcome, so Cassie doesn't have to do it herself. So you can use Confluence to make decisions with your team, but they're also very important for recording those decisions. Every decision you've made in the past is automatically collected for you under an automatically created decisions register that you can get to very quickly from the space sidebar. Now, this is awesome for people that weren't involved in the decision-making process to come in and see what decisions are in progress or what decisions have been made so they can get some context around why a particular decision was made. Now, this same concept applies to those meeting notes that Ryan had created and the file list that Cassie has created. Those are also automatically organized under their own collector pages that you can very quickly get to from the space sidebar. Now, without scheduling a single meeting or sending a single email, Ryan has been able to bring all of his stakeholders together online. Sorry, Cassie has been able to bring all of her stakeholders together online. And from there, they've been able to reach a consensus on the decision that needs to be made using Confluence comments and likes. This allows Cassie to record her decision and notify all stakeholders of the final outcome. And most importantly, all of your decisions are there in Confluence forever for you to reference forever. So next time you need to make a decision with your team, I encourage you to use Confluence, make your decision, and move forward. Now, Ryan's team has all their information in one place. Their file lists, their meeting notes, and their decisions. And they can get more work done faster. But it's not just Ryan's team. My very own team at Atlassian also uses all of these blueprints to get our work done. We use Confluence meeting notes for our weekly sprint planning meetings. I've created a file list for everyone in the company to come to. If they need to put a presentation together, they can come here. Whether they're delivering a presentation at an Atlassian user group, they can make use of all my past presentations to quickly piece something together. And most recently, we used the decisions blueprint to decide on the name of our newest product, Confluence Questions. The decisions blueprint allowed me to bring in all of the important stakeholders in this decision. Mike Cannon-Brooks, our co-founder, Bill Arcanati and Sharif Mansour, our product managers. Using Confluence comments, we were able to reach a consensus and decide on the name, Confluence Questions. And I personally promise you that we did not have a single meeting or send a single email about this. It was all done through the decisions blueprint. Now, if you're not using Confluence yet, or you have teams in your company that aren't using Confluence, it's really, really easy for them to get started, and we've made a lot of improvements in this area that I want to quickly show you. First of all, in the new Create Space dialog in Confluence 5.3, you can quickly select your new team space. What that'll do is allow you to give it a quick name and also invite your team members into Confluence. Again, pulling them in so you don't have to go and reach out to them. Confluence handles that for you. It'll give you a basic structure to get started with some tasks like customizing your team's homepage, which you can see I've gone ahead and done on our own team homepage on our internal instance at Atlassian. I've used the Confluence editor to give everyone a quick overview of our team, provide automatic shortcut links to the most important pages in our space, like the marketing roadmap and our launch plans. And lastly, visitors can get a quick feel for the work that we're doing right now with the dynamic activity streams on the bottom of the page. And all this is possible thanks to the power of the Confluence editor, and again, we've made it very easy for you to get started. When you get your team in, everything that I've just showed you, meeting notes, file lists, decisions, and a new blueprint called Share Links that I didn't have time to cover today, are right there available in the Create dialog out of the box. So if you're not yet using Confluence with your teams, please go ahead and get started and start collaborating. What do you guys think? Right? Thank you. Confluence has come a really long way in the last 12 months, and I'm super excited about the future direction of the product and what we've been able to achieve. I only think that we're just scratching the surface. To talk more about that and how all of this is possible, I'd like to invite Bill Arcanati up on the stage so he can share more about how we're building a platform that you can build your entire collaboration strategy on top of, and a platform that you can trust. Bill Arcanati, everyone.
Thanks, Matt. G'day. Okay, that's the extent of my Australian accent. Hi, my name is Bill, and I'm the Group Product Manager for Confluence. And I'm really excited to be here. This is my 5th summit, and it's great to be speaking with all of you here today. I see a lot of familiar faces in the crowd. I also see a lot of new faces in the crowd, so it's really exciting to be here. So Matt talked about how Confluence can be used for all the teams across your organization to help unleash their inner potential. It's good for making better decisions, or for having more effective meetings, or as Matt said, meetings that don't suck, or for helping your development teams build better software faster. And what I want to talk to you about today is all the work that the Confluence development team has been doing to make all those great things that Matt just talked about possible. As I mentioned, I've been at Atlassian for a long time, and I've been a Confluence user for much longer than that. And when I first started using Confluence, it kind of looked something like this. It had a really basic editor. It had these things called macros, but it took me a while to understand really what those were. And to make any kind of compelling content, I needed to master a complex syntax. And I really wasn't quite sure how everything fit together and how to get around inside of Confluence. But that was OK for people like William here. William's a technical user. He's a power user. And he really enjoys rolling up his sleeves and mastering a complex tool like Confluence used to be. But it wasn't great for Alana here. Alana's a business user. She's busy. She doesn't really have the time or, frankly, the desire to master something complex. She just wants to contribute some content, collaborate, and get on with her day and her busy day. But as Matt mentioned, we have a much bigger vision for Confluence. We want Confluence to empower everyone in your organization to have a voice and allow information to flow freely to every employee in your organization in a way that lets you get work done and not just talk about work, but have business results like having productive meetings, making better decisions, building better software faster. And most importantly, be a place where all the Wills and Alanas in your organization can get work done together. And so over time, we've been evolving Confluence from being just kind of a departmental wiki for your technical teams and trying to make it a collaboration platform for all the teams in your organization to collaborate. And so over the past year, since we talked to you last year at Summit, the Confluence team has been evolving Confluence toward that goal. We focused a lot on the user experience. Make it intuitive for your business users while maintaining the power for your power users. We've taken the best practices that we've learned from you guys in the room and those 43,000 teams that Matt mentioned. What's the best way to do release notes? What's the best way to do meetings? And package those into Confluence for new people and new teams getting started. And once Confluence, we hear from you, Confluence is taking off within your organization, and everyone wants to start using it. And we want to make sure that Confluence can continue to scale from 25 users to 25,000 or more users, and we've been hard at work on that as well. And finally, we continue to evolve it as a platform for delivering new types of collaborative applications as your team's needs grow. Let me talk about each one of these now. A good user experience starts with a good look and feel. And since last year, we've completely modernized the UI of Confluence. Starting in Confluence 5.0, we gave it a complete reskin. We've touched every screen, polishing every aspect, every icon, even the typography we sweat. We sweat the detail because software that looks good is software that people want to use. And we even gave our world-famous editor a bit of a nip and tuck and made it load faster and instantly when you click the edit button. And even email notifications, something that a lot of you interface with every day, got a modern look and feel that's consistent with those of JIRA and other Atlassian applications. And the response has been awesome. Thanks to everyone. Oh, if I go back, you can see what that response was. Thanks to everyone for your feedback, both after we released, and most importantly, all the feedback that we got from you along the way. We truly could not have done a major redesign effort like this without your input. One thing we hear from you guys is that Confluence has to have your corporate branding, your corporate look and feel, in order to feel like an official collaboration application. And so in Confluence 5.0, now all you have to do is take your company logo or your team logo, upload that to your site, and Confluence will automatically adjust its color scheme to match your logo. No messing around with CSS files or having to build your own themes. And of course, there are add-ons in the marketplace that allow you to do more and customize Confluence even more. But it's not just a reskin that we gave Confluence. It's not just lipstick. We thought about how you navigate and get around inside of Confluence. We know that you use other applications, but we also want Confluence to be the one that you go to every day to collaborate. So we've linked from the header to common applications that you use, whether it's JIRA or Bamboo, other Atlassian applications, or other external apps like your HR portal or a company portal. And to help you get back to the spaces that you use every day, we introduced the spaces dropdown. So you can quickly get back to those team spaces, those departmental spaces that you go to quite frequently. And once you're in a space, the new sidebar allows you to have shortcuts. So anyone that comes there can immediately see what this space is about and what you're working on right now. I can tell right here, this is a development team space because it has product requirements or meeting notes. And I can even link to external links like my JIRA Agile Rapid board. And if you want to have more focus on the content, you can just collapse that sidebar and still get access to everything you need. Now, navigation is important, but the most fundamental core thing that you do in Confluence is creating content. And we've focused on that, streamlining that as well. Now, wherever you are inside of Confluence, you can access the Create button to create content. And once you click on that, the new visual Create dialog shows you exactly what kind of content that you can create and shows you where you can create it. And if you're like me, I use a tiny MacBook Air, and sometimes from home, I'll work from a coffee shop with a little 11-inch screen. We've made the editor responsive so that when you shrink it down in the size, it fits nicely, and you have more real estate to edit. And if you're looking for even more real estate, with one click, you can get in distraction-free mode to hide everything except for the editor. So you can just focus on creating awesome content, like your team homepage, or your meeting notes, or a blog. And just as we've continued to make it simpler to navigate and more intuitive to create content, we want to keep adding power also for the wheels of your organization with what we call Page Layouts 2.0. So now you can have any number of layout rows in Confluence, 2-column, 3-column, headers, footers, to make really advanced page layouts for your team homepages or for your project dashboards. So those are just some of the ways that we've been continually improving the user experience at Confluence, and we're not done. A funny thing happened to me last year at Summit. I was at the cocktail reception, and I was talking to a gentleman who was telling me a great story about how his team uses Confluence for writing product requirements, and they can collaborate on them and then put those requirements into JIRA. And it was such a great story. And then 10 minutes later, I was talking to another gentleman who said, you know, is it possible to use Confluence to write requirements? And we hear those kind of stories all the time. One minute, we hear a great story from a customer who's doing these awesome things with Confluence. And then the next minute, we hear a question from a customer who's struggling to do that very thing. And the story goes something like this. Maybe this sounds familiar to you with users in your organization. They come to Confluence and they say, oh, I hear I can create meeting notes or project plans or surveys, knowledge base, all these awesome things I hear I can do. But when they go into Confluence, they see something like this. Yeah, it looks nice. It's an editor, looks beautiful. Sure, it looks like there's a lot of cool features in there. But what I see is a blank page. How do I get started? And so all those features, we all know the power of Confluence. Oh, I don't want to miss my cool animation. Let me do that again. We all know these powerful features and how to put those together, but how do new users do that? How can Confluence do that for them? And we call that, the solution to this, call that blueprints. Think of blueprints as bundled best practices for your team that allow you to see what kind of pages you can create in the new Create dialog. It shows you how to create them, so you can have some blueprints have a wizard that actually walk you through the whole creation process, or just create the page in the background for you. And they automatically organize that content for you, either in a collector page or in the sidebar. All that is automated for you. And by talking to you, we learn your best practices and bundle those into Confluence, starting with requirements and meetings and file lists in Confluence 5.1. And we haven't stopped there. We've continued to add things like decisions, as Matt showed you, and shared links, so you can have links around conversations centralized in the side of Confluence. This week, we've introduced knowledge-based blueprints for your IT teams to help your customers help themselves. And for development teams, we're releasing new blueprints for retrospectives, so you can improve your processes, and JIRA reports, so you can report to key stakeholders on the status of your JIRA projects from within Confluence, all in just a couple clicks. And we're not done. This is just the beginning. We keep getting good feedback from you guys through surveys, through feature requests, through interviews, through events like these, of all the new things that you want to be able to do with Confluence. And we're going to keep putting blueprints in that help you guys, help your teams collaborate better. And we frankly know we can't build every solution for everybody. But blueprints are pluggable, and our leading marketplace and ecosystem developers have come in and built some amazing blueprints that are available today on Marketplace, like Kamalatek's task boards and content canvas, or strategy canvas, sorry. Glyphy diagrams, or one I use every day, Stiltsoft's Evernote blueprint, where I can take my personal meeting notes or my personal notes in Evernote and publish those into Confluence, where I can share those with my team. Zephyr just last week released their test reports blueprints, and Simplenia's polls blueprints. There are many more on Marketplace that you can check out today, and that list is growing. But the thing that's actually surprised and delighted me the most about blueprints is that end users have started to take them apart and putting them together in ways that fit their particular business processes. For example, marketing teams using it to track their product launch plans, or their customer newsletters and when those are going to go out and what the content of those newsletters is going to be. Or our HR team, we call HR talent at Atlassian. They're running projects all the time, and they have one single blueprint that shows them a dashboard of the status of all those projects, who's running the project, whether it's on time, and what are the key things that they need to know. And the one that might really do your head in is that the blueprints team on Confluence has a blueprints blueprint for tracking the blueprints that you guys are asking us to build. Glad some people got that joke. And there are many more. You guys can go home and do a lot of this yourself today. If you missed it, we had a really good webinar a couple months back where we walked you through how you can do all this stuff. It's available on YouTube. I highly recommend you go check it out or share it with people in your company. And come talk to us in the Guru Lounge or the demo booths. We're eager to talk more about this. So what we've heard from you is that page blueprints have helped people in your team and your organization get started faster. But you wanted more. You said, how do I apply the same concept to space blueprints? And I'm pleased to say that this week in Confluence 5.3, we now have space blueprints. Matt showed you the knowledge-based space blueprint. We also have a team blueprint as well. And space blueprints kind of do the same thing for spaces that page blueprints do for pages. They show you what kind of spaces you can create. It shows you how to create them. So for example, the team space, you can invite your team from the Create wizard, and they'll get a notification saying, hey, you've been added to this team space. And when you're in the space and you're creating new pages, it has default page blueprints. So for example, when I'm in the knowledge-based space, it offers, when I go to create a page, it has me choose from the how-to articles or the troubleshooting guide. And finally, it allows you to add structure to your space, either through a custom homepage or through an actual page hierarchy. And of course, these have an API as well. And our ecosystem has started building new blueprints as well for spaces. For example, Comunardo just last week showed me a great one for IT documentation, so you can document your servers and applications as an IT department. And we're talking to more ecosystem developers about building new ones. So those are just some of the things that we've done to help your team get started with the collaboration best practices in Confluence. We have more plans in this area. Now, as Confluence becomes easier to use and your teams can get started faster with blueprints, you're going to see it spread like wildfire throughout your organization. Maybe you already have. And we want to make it so that Confluence works for teams of all sizes, 25 to 25,000 or more users. And when you have a lot of people using Confluence in your system, you tend to have a lot of people going through life changes at the same time. For example, Donna and Charles have been dating for a long time. You might know, some of you might know Donna and Charles. Donna has been our support diva for many years. Charles is the architect for Confluence. And they've been dating for a long time. And the running joke that Donna has is that she refuses to marry Charles until she can change her name in Confluence. I don't think she's kidding either. So I'm pleased to say that today, as a 5.3, you can now rename users inside of Confluence. Oh, awesome. Glad you like it. And I'm also pleased to say that Donna and Charles are now engaged to be married, and they'll be married shortly. Now, I can't guarantee that a feature like this is going to help you find a life partner, but if any of you are administrators for large Confluence instances out there, I guarantee this will make your life a little bit easier. So you have a lot of people in your system. They're also creating a lot of content, and sometimes that content gets stale. But you don't really want to delete it. You just want to get rid of it, or just hide it. And so if you have a space that's from an old team or an old project, you can now archive that so it doesn't cloud up your search results. And we continue to make finding content easy as well. For example, one thing that we heard and noticed in our research is that when people are searching for content, they're frequently looking for pages that they've just been working on. So now when you click in the search box, you instantly see a list of your recently viewed pages. So chances are, you'll find what you want, even without having to do a search. And once you've done, if you do a search, we've made the algorithm a lot smarter with features like exact phrase matching. And we've tweaked the algorithm over time by looking at the search data from our on-demand instances and from our own instances within Atlassian, and made it much more relevant and faster. And if you want to narrow down your search results, instant filters can now be applied, so you can narrow it down to author or space, and that happens instantly, so you can find what you're looking for faster. And I don't have time to go through every feature that we've done since last summit for the enterprise. Some of the big ones were things like share with group, or set default permissions on your spaces, or label attachments, delete attachment version, page version, etc. But what I will say is that we're listening to you guys. And just since last summit, we've satisfied over 3,200 votes. And we're not done. The enterprise team has just gotten started, and we're taking on big engineering challenges, just like user rename was. One thing that we're hearing from you guys is that Confluence is becoming increasingly mission critical within your organization, and that any kind of downtime is unacceptable because it hinders collaboration and all productivity halts within your company. And so one thing that we're planning to tackle next is high availability. We don't have an exact date on that yet, but it's something that, it's the next mountain we're going to scale. So Confluence has evolved as a platform. And now it allows you, or it has and continues to allow you, to deliver new types of collaborative applications on top of it, where all your users are creating content. And our marketplace is taking Confluence in new directions that we maybe never even considered within Atlassian. Since last year, we've seen some really cool things, like Bob Swift's SQL plugin for doing business intelligence reports. I rely on this every day to see how Confluence sales and support metrics are going inside of Confluence. Glyphy diagrams, scroll versions for having sophisticated product documentation where you have multiple versions of the same product, but able to reuse content. Ad hoc workflows for publishing and doing ideation through ad hoc canvas, which is also available in Confluence On Demand now. And doing advanced theming through things like Bricket, formerly known as Zen, and Refined Wiki, so you can make Confluence look exactly like you want it to look. And it's not just the ecosystem that's building add-ons. It's also us building new types of collaborative apps on top of Confluence. 2 years ago, we got up and showed you team calendars to help you track your team through things like rosters or vacation time or team leave, and also track your JIRA projects, like see upcoming milestones, upcoming releases, recent sprints, etc. And get one single view across all of those so you can see any kind of conflicts that might happen and adjust accordingly. And we've continued to improve team calendars. We introduced Timeline View, which you see here, so you can get a better visual of how your projects and your teams are potentially colliding. And we're also working on custom events so that you can create new event types. And today, as Mike mentioned, we have a new application that we're launching, Confluence Questions. Because Confluence is really good for taking any kind of ideas that you have and allowing you to share those with your team and collaborate and capture knowledge that way. What Confluence Questions does is allows you to pull knowledge from your team by asking them a question and being able to get information and knowledge from across all your experts so that you can extract your tribal knowledge and retain that knowledge when people leave and identify experts within your organization. I'm not going to go through all the whys because I think you might want to actually see what the product looks like. So I'm just going to give you a quick run through. Now let's say I have a question. I can go into Confluence Questions and I get the full editor. So I can use, for example, an image here, drag and drop macros, anything I want I can put in there. And when I ask a question, I can get multiple answers from across the entire organization. Anyone can give an answer, anyone who has access to questions. And other folks can vote those up so that you ensure that you get a high quality answer through the voting. You can also organize answers by topics. And it's not just a way to group questions, but it's a way to learn about a new topic. So for example, I'm interested in learning about Agile, and I can go to this topic, and I can get more context by what is Agile. And I can watch for new questions in this topic so I can be notified of things that I might want to answer or things that I might want to know about, new questions. And as people are answering questions, they're also identifying themselves as an expert. And it's a great way not only to identify experts, but it's also a good way to encourage people to answer questions. Who doesn't want to be known as an expert? So I can discover new experts by topic here. For example, I know that Ryan here is the Agile expert within the company. And of course, now I can go and search for experts as well. So if I'm looking for someone who's an expert in a particular topic, I can find them as well. And of course, since all this is built on top of Confluence, it takes a lot of what might be your favorite features in Confluence and puts them into questions and even makes them better in some cases. As I mentioned, you can create rich content with images. It has the power of the editor. Code, so you can ask questions about code and answer questions about code. You can link to JIRA issues through the JIRA issues macro. All the keyboard shortcuts that you get in the editor are there. And you can even embed YouTube videos, like this one of my handsome product manager, Sharif. And all the social features, since your users are inside of Confluence already, you can take advantage of the social features. So if you don't know the answer to a question, you can share it with someone who might. Or you can mention them and pull them into the conversation so that they might be able to answer the question for you. And probably the most important thing is that all of the search is centralized now. So when you search for things inside of Confluence, questions will show up alongside all the pages and blogs and attachments that you already have in there. So it becomes part of your growing Confluence knowledge base. And if that content, for whatever reason, isn't already documented inside of Confluence, you can just ask a question from right there, and an expert can come answer it so that the next person who comes and searches for that content will find it there and doesn't have to ask again. It's part of your growing knowledge base inside of Confluence. So those are some of the key features in Confluence Questions. The beta is available today. It works on Confluence 5.3 or above. And you can download it from the marketplace or through the Universal Plugin Manager. And we look to have it 1.0 just after the end of the year. So if you have any questions, come talk to us. We have members of the team that are walking around here right now. Chris here on the left and John on the right, as well as myself. So if you're interested in some of the things that we showed you here today, you might be asking, when can I get my hands on these? Well, a lot of that stuff's available today in 5.3. helping customers help themselves through the support knowledge-based space, as Matt showed you, is in 5.3. Centralizing your knowledge through shared links, decisions, shared files is also in 5.3. And the questions beta is available today, which you can check out. You can learn more at atlassian.com/questions. And in December, we plan to have all the JIRA integration features that we talked about to help your teams build higher quality software faster. And I know you didn't come here just to hear us talk and talk. You came here to actually interact with real human beings and people. And so we brought a lot of people over from Sydney who are really eager to talk to you guys and learn how you're using Confluence and how they can make it better. So please, if you see Neeraj or Matt or Chris or Sharif or John or Natasha or Terrence or Ryan or John, please introduce yourself and tell them how we can make better software for you, and let them ask questions and learn from you. That's why we all flew from Sydney. And I just want to say thank you to everybody here. We rely on your feedback and your ideas to continually improve Confluence. So please keep that coming. So on behalf of the entire Confluence team, Matt and myself, thank you everyone, and have an awesome summit.